Hello, YouTube, and welcome to Prime Productions. I'm here to help enhance your tabletop gaming experience. If you're new to this channel, I primarily focus on Paizo tabletop role-playing games like Pathfinder and Starfinder. And if you want to help me out, I have a Patreon and Discord, more info at the end of the video. So, last year, I put out a video talking about things I'd like to see from Paizo in the year 2025, and I thought it might be nice to make that a yearly tradition here on the channel. So let's look at what I wanted from last year and what kind of things I'd like to see this year. But first, a few ground rules. I'm not going to put anything on the list that we already know is coming. For example, I've wanted an adventure path set in Galarian's Isgear for years, and we're finally getting one with Hellbreakers and Hell's Destiny. So while I'm happy to see that coming down the pipeline, it's not going to be on the list. Second ground rule is that this is going to be a list of 5 things that I personally would like to see, and these are in no particular order. It's not stuff I think the system needs or addressing any perceived flaws in the system, it's just stuff I would like to see. Thirdly, I'm not going to request anything unreasonable. I would love it if Paizo gave me personally $1 million, but that's not happening. So, it's not going on the list. So you're not going to see anything on here like a Pathfinder 3rd edition or anything. But before we get to this year's list, let's run down last year's list and see where we stand. For this section of the video, just to help us keep things on track, if we got something on last year's list over the course of the year, I will put a check mark next to it. If not, a no symbol. Firstly, last year I had some honorable mentions, like a Pathfinder roguelike. After that video posted, someone messaged me that there was actually a mod for Dawnsbury Days, that Pathfinder game on Steam. Anyway, the mod kinda sorta turns it into a roguelike. I've talked to the creator and they are working on an update for the new version of Dawnsbury Days that came out this year, so that's nice. Half a checkmark, I guess. Honorable mention number 2 was support for sling users in Pathfinder 2, and we kinda sorta got that with the gorilla archetype from Battlecry. It doesn't turn sling users into top tier options or anything, but it does make them more viable. I'll be generous and give it a check mark anyway. Now moving on to last year's list. First request was for more ancestry feats to flesh out some of the lesser used ancestries, and I think we got that. Every new ancestry introduced in 2025, at least as far as I clocked, had at least 2 ancestry feats per level, and many had many more. Jotunborn, Dragonette, and especially all of the Starfinder 2e ancestries had a lot of different feats. They didn't go back and flesh out some of the old ancestries as much, though kobolds did get some new ancestry feats in Draconic Codex, so that's nice. I'll say we got this one. Next up, I requested better and more comprehensive rules for NPC monster creation. So, this one requires a bit of explanation. If you, as a GM, make an NPC, there's a set of instructions you can follow if you want to. These are called roadmaps. Sadly, there are only roadmaps for the 16 classes in Player Cores 1 and 2. If you want to make an NPC inventor or magus or whatever, you just kinda have to guess. Now sadly, we did not get any new NPC roadmaps like I wanted, though NPC Core, which did come out in 2025, did have a bunch of new NPCs, as well as some good rules and options for varying them up and making them work at your table. I would still like some new roadmaps, maybe as a PDF supplement, but we did get something, so half a check mark here? Number 3 on last year's list was more class archetypes. Now for this one, I primarily wanted class archetypes for monks and fighters because those classes don't have any subclasses. So, having class archetypes for those classes would be a nice way to flesh them out. Sadly, we did not get any fighter or monk class archetypes, though we did get a few others. 2 wizard class archetypes, Runelord and Warmage, plus an inventor class archetype. And the Spellshot archetype was remade in Guns and Gears. So, I guess technically we got what I wanted, so checkmark, but I'd still like to see some more fighter or monk class archetypes. Number 2 was a new cleric doctrine, and no, we didn't get one. Though I did release one of my own third-party cleric doctrines that I think works quite well. Go check it out on DriveThruRPG, link in the description below. But yeah, we just did not get one, no beating around the bush. And number 1 was also something we didn't get. I wanted a return of the Shifter class. Shifter was a Pathfinder 1 class that was kinda like a monk, only instead of martial arts, they shifted parts of their body, eventually their whole body, into animals for attacks. Honestly, I kinda knew we weren't gonna get this class in 2025. The closest we did get was Astrozoan, a shapeshifter player ancestry, which was nice, but not the same thing. Okay, so now we are done with last year's list. Let's look forward to 2026 and what I personally would like to see come out. For number 5 on the list, I still think we could have some more support for slings and Pathfinder. The gorilla seems to only work with slings, not sling category weapons. But this year I'm going to expand that to wishing for other weapons to get some love. I just like to see some of the more historical weapons become more viable. For example, spears were highly important in historical combat, but they aren't too good in Pathfinder. Sure, there are some spears that are useful for specific niche builds, like the Hobgoblin Breaching Pike or the Dueling Spear, but there's just not a lot of support for them. So yeah, my first request is love for the more historical weapons that are not a sword or bow. Number 4 on the list is just for Paizo to clean up some of their rules that still have some questions. Paizo is generally pretty good about explaining exactly how their rules work, a lot better than, say, the Dragon game, but there are a few questions that still need to be answered. We should be getting a remastered Dark Archive book later this month as of the posting of this video, and I'm hoping that the book addresses some of the questions about how the thaumaturge works. It's hard to explain. I'll put an explanation of what the problem is on screen now and you can pause and read it. By the way, if you bought the PDF of the original Dark Archive book, you should be getting the remastered update for free, hopefully. But the Psychic still has some wonkiness with rules that I don't think has ever been fully addressed, and there are some other issues that I would like to see ironed out. Number 3 on the list is a bit of a selfish one, I admit. I would just like to see a barbarian instinct or maybe a barbarian class archetype that lets barbarians run around without armor. Like full-on barbarian in loincloth mode. The reason I want this, like I said, is a bit selfish. See, Dungeons & Dragons has a mechanic where their barbarians can do well either armored or unarmored, and every single popular D&D barbarian chooses unarmored. And this makes it hard when I convert pop culture D&D characters into Pathfinder, because I either have to turn them into knots to make them unarmored, or just give them armor, which kinda defeats the purpose. Now, I know that there are a few ways to make unarmored barbarians work in Pathfinder, but they either require you to fight unarmed, which typically doesn't represent those characters, or you have to do something like make them a half-dragon, which also doesn't represent those characters. So yeah, purely because it would make creating conversion videos easier, I would like to see some more unarmored barbarian options. Number 2 on this list is a bit more ephemeral, but I would just like to see some arcane magic traditions solidified. We all know that primal magic is the magic of nature. We all know that divine magic is the magic of the gods. But occult magic, which was supposed to be the magic of emotion and esoteric curses, seems to have completely supplanted arcana. Did you know that the Akashic Record, which is the record of all knowledge, is tied to the occult tradition and not arcane? The place with all of the knowledge is what wizards, the guys who learn magic from books, should be all about, but it goes to the occult spellcasters? I think it would just be nice to have something concrete spelled out for what is arcane magic. For example, Dungeons & Dragons' Faerun has the Weave, which is this massive field of arcane magic laid over the world, and it is defined and spelled out in the lore. Now, I am not saying that Pathfinder's Golarion needs a version of the Weave, but having some sort of concrete something to hang your hat on would be nice conceptually. And finally, number 1 on this list is to not make any more new classes for Pathfinder. Pathfinder already has 27 classes, and we are getting 2 more in 2026 with the Runesmith and Necromancer. And that's fine, we can stop there. Honestly, that is too many classes. I would rather Paizo redirect their efforts to providing more options for things we already have, giving us new fighter or monk archetypes, giving us new cleric doctrines or ranger edges. After watching the Mighty Nine animated series, I would love to see some assassin-y wizard curriculum. Give us some new witch patrons. Side note, did you know there's only 1 arcane and 3 divine witch patrons, but occult and nature both have 6 each? I think there's a lot of room for supporting existing classes instead of just making a whole bunch of new ones. But that's about it for today. Let me know what you'd like to see from Paizo in the coming year. Let's get a conversation going. Just remember to be civil in the comments below, yeah? Remember, there's another person on the other end of that computer screen. Hey, as a reminder, I have a Patreon. I'm going to try and post something fun there once a month, but honestly, it's just a way to help keep this channel financially viable. For less than the cost of a cup of coffee a month, you can help me buy new equipment to keep this channel going. And of course, I have my own Discord, link in the description below. And make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. That tells not only me, but also YouTube that you like this kind of content and would like to see more. And until next time, thank you, good luck, and happy gaming!